Okay. I feel I need to fucking say this. Yes, I am an angry person. It's not petulant anger. It's not teenage anger. Teenage angst anger. Oh, I want to pick this to be. Oh, it's not a woke anger either. I choose something to be angry about. Paganism has been my path for quite a few years. How old am I? Over a decade. More than a decade it's been my path. It has been an evolving path, but it's been my path. I've been mistreated because of it. I've seen other pagans be mistreated on this same path. Am I angry about this? Fucking right I'm angry about this. Why shouldn't I be? No. These days if someone fucking takes the piss out of a Muslim in the street, most right-thinking people have a go at them. I've seen it. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's quite a lot of, there's still, in many areas there is apathy, but I've seen it growing. Society does evolve. Not around paganism, though. If my anger wasn't justified, then why do I feel so passionately about it? Now, I could understand if it was, I picked something and then got emotionally involved in it, even though I have absolutely nothing to do with it. But paganism's in my blood. It's in our family culture. If you go far back enough. So I do have something to say on the matters. And when it's stuff that pisses, when it's stuff that pisses me off, and it's to do with Christians, yes, I'm gonna get pissed off. Why? Because we can argue back against the Christians without fear of. Well, we shouldn't. These days it's not legally supposed to be permitted that pagans can have recompense by put to the sword or being hung or being set on fire. And if we're supposed to be legitimate people in this country, why of all the peoples we don't get vilified as much as Muslims do by Christians, right? Not in the same way, I should say. We get more ridiculed because they spent, for one, the main argument would be with Islam because it's a sister religion, brother religion, whichever way you want to put it. But to tell me I can't be angry about my people being treated like fucking shite. Tell me I need to dampen down my passion for this. Now I have actually found a direction to put my anger, and not just in direction of hatred. As I've said on a number of my videos now, I don't hate all Christians. I do recognise the damage that Christian culture, if it's, what's the right word, if it becomes hegemony. Monotheistic, it's not just Christianity, it's just monotheistic religions in general. There tends to be an arrogance that comes about. You will believe what I believe, or will make it so you're put to the point where you don't matter anymore. That's where pagans are. We're at a point where most people look at us and we don't really matter. That's where we are. That's why I don't. That's another reason why I'm angry, and I think that's a legitimate reason to be angry. I'm not saying that every single individual, that I should matter, that every single individual should matter. Of course, that's unrealistic. I'm stupid. What I mean, as a people, if we are a legitimate people in this country, recognised by law, we should not be treated as if we do not exist. Or that we're there just for the subject of ridicule. I get, I'm not being woke, I'm not being against comedians taking the piss. They take the piss out of every culture. I haven't got a problem with that. Especially if you know what the type of comedian you're watching. Yeah. But to me, the comedian thing's a separate problem. That's almost a trend culture thing. This is what I would consider. I'm not sure if these are actual terms, but this is what I would consider traditional true culture. When we talk about all these little things like Met Legends, this is trend culture. These are trend cultures, all the things that styles and stuff. Now I have a pagan style, but it's also influenced by Gothic style. That Gothic style is a trend culture. I don't go around. I don't see people looking like me, so I'm also not trying to be a trendsetter. So again, it's not a trend culture. And as I think I said before, paganism in its various forms, British paganism in its various forms makes up a lot. It makes up part of our British culture. It's what the Christians built off, and when they got to this country, they didn't come here with and build from scratch and make a Christian land. It was done through blood. You try telling most Christians that. You try bringing that subject up at all today, and you are branded inflammatory. Inflammatory? What? Bringing up the truth is inflammatory now. And it's not just the truth, but it is truth in context. I hate selfishness. You've seen the state of my teeth. I don't care about myself to a point. I hate selfishness to a point I don't care about myself. Do I think this is a good thing? Probably not. However, this is my mindset. I don't, as much as I see the necessity sometimes of selfishness, and I will sometimes force myself to be if it's absolutely necessary, I don't like doing it. To me, it's an abhorrent act to be selfish. Me as an individual. But when you're left on your own quite often, you do look for conversations with people. But this anger is also drawn from many, from many conversations I've had with fellow pagans around the southwest, and when I've been up and down the country on the few occasions that I've been able to, and I've met and spoke to pagans. I've heard very similar accounts of verbal and physical attacks. They're not allowed to celebrate their do their rituals because the neighbours don't like it. Why don't the neighbours like it? Well, the problem is, and the truth of it is 9 times out of 10 they're Christian. And in Christian culture, paganism's a bad thing. As much as a lot of the quite a few of them are good, loving people, their culture tells them that paganism is a bad thing. They treat us with suspicion. Now, yes, you can say that in general, when it comes to something different, it's treated with suspicion, but this actually has historical backup. And it has followed into today. So therefore, there is a difference. A major difference. When I finally do get back into the education system, I'm just doing my own research. I find out a lot of this. I'm highly doubtful that, when I go back into the education system, that I'm going to be, that I'm not going to get a lot more information. I'm a very emotional person. It's always been a part of who I am, and if I get overly emotional, I don't apologise. It's who I am. Everyone else is allowed to be who they are. I do try to moderate myself. My family want me on pills. I've tried different medications, and I don't like trying to think through cotton wool. I smoke a bit of green, a bit of bud, a bit of cannabis, a bit of weed. It slows me down enough to get on with most people. And it's just hard for me to get out now. I used to walk everywhere. I probably wouldn't be doing this. I don't know. I might even still. I used to walk everywhere. Everywhere. Because I wouldn't get lost. So even if I didn't know where I was, and to me, lost means you can't find your way home. I always was able to find my way home. Never got lost. I still don't. The problem is I can't walk that far without being in a major amounts of pain. And the doctors still can't give me a definite reason as to why this is happening. So, I'm on here. As the weather gets colder, I want to get back out, I'm going to try and get out when I feel good enough to go and talk to the religious leaders, the political leaders, the civic leaders. Not from a position of anger to propose to open pagans up to society, to propose to them to help to open up pagans to society, or to at least accept us. and to stop treating us with such hostility. And I won't be doing this from a point of anger. If they treat me with anger, I will respond in kind. And that's partly what these videos are based from. They are, some of them are reaction, or a number of them are going to be reactionary. But, you know, a lot of people do reactionary videos. It's just I don't see any reactionary videos from a pagan's perspective. In fact, I can't find any. So I thought someone should. Now, like I tried to point out to me, Matt, I recognise I'm not the only person who's pagan in this country. I do. And I also recognise that there are pagans, and I'm sure I've said this on a few other videos, but fuck it. I recognise that not all pagans are on the left, that many are in the centre or on the right. I recognise that. But I don't, you know, Survive the Jive doesn't really do the political side of things very often. He seems to be centre-right. That's where he seems to be. On when it comes to politically, you know, culture, politics, seems to be on the right. But I'm not sure. He'd have to he'd have to, you know, certify that one. But I'm not someone on the left who expects everyone to just agree with me either. I'm sick and tired of being spoken to as if as if I've spoken to them as if I'm expecting people to just agree with me all the time. Well, no, because when I get all het up and stuff in a debate, it's usually because I'm not being listened to be honest, and especially after I've spent a while listening to the other person. Or if I've been misunderstood and they won't give me the chance to correct where they've misunderstood what I've said. Or if I have said something wrong, they don't give me the chance to correct myself within it. This is unreasonable. I would like to have proper debates with people. I've been told I'm intelligent. And when it comes to the stuff I like to talk about, most of the people around me don't seem to be able to keep up. I can't call myself a genius, because I don't think I am one. Nowhere near. The last time I did an IQ test, it was 140 odd. But no, I don't. I'm also a bit broken, as you've probably noticed. But it isn't everyone. I'm just broken in my own way. This is me trying to be on my path to repairing myself. But I am angry for a reason. I used to be angry about many different things. I still am, really, but the things I used to be really angry about, I do recognise were kind of bit petty, you know. But they're also, like, whilst some people go down the route of recognising that anger isn't the way, in an absolutist way. How do I put this? I don't see anger as in the absolute way that people see it. I don't see anger as a pure poison. I don't. Because it's in the animal kingdom. Fear and anger, and happiness and joy. It's not just humans that can feel them. So, and yeah, okay, maybe they can't feel it as from our perspective, but we can't feel it from their perspective. So, because they are a different species, and that's the arrogance of the human race. But bringing it back to British society, that in of itself relates, because it's like, as I said before, when it comes to paganism as a religion, as a collective religion, many pagans, myself, I don't know anyone else out there who holds exactly the same beliefs that I do. Exactly the same beliefs. I've been on my own individual journey. Many pagans are. However, there are links. Quite often, it's through historical traditions, and ultimately, when you look at it, there's a lot of similarities between how they view each of them view ancestor worship and ancestor devotion. We are treated like we're the butt of the joke, and we're supposed to be a legitimate people. I am legitimately angry. You can think I look ridiculous if you want, but most people, there are quite a lot of people out there that think they look normal, that I think I look fucking ridiculous. Personally, I think if you're going to walk down the road covered in highly flammable clothing that barely keeps you warm in the winter when it's raining, and then stand there shivering, I think you're a fucking idiot. And I think you look stupid. But isn't that what living in a democracy is supposed to be about? Everyone is allowed to voice their opinions. And in a democracy, in a fair and open democracy, people's opinions, if someone has an opinion, the opposite opinion ought to be heard. In a fair democracy. Which is what many people try to propone this country to be. Even though we know it at the moment isn't. Yes, I am angry. But that's not all I am. But I'm not the only channel on here that's angry. For legitimate reasons. It's just that, mine don't. I haven't seen, this come up. Despite the fact that I've spoken to people who have had this problem. A number of people. And I've heard, I've seen this on chat groups before. We don't want to get, we don't want to cause problems. We don't want to make things difficult for ourselves again. We're running away in fear. Hiding in fear. Hiding in fear of repercussions from a culture that's on the decline. We're on the rise. We're on the re-emergence. Our re-emergence is, it's still got. Our numbers are still growing in this country. The number of Christians is falling. We don't need to be scared anymore. We can voice our opinions, and if you're a pagan and your opinions differ to mine, fair enough. Tell me. Let me know. I welcome it. But I don't hear enough pagans on the in I can't think of how the public sphere of conversation. Most other cultures get brought up, but if and when paganism is, it's usually as a joke, or it's to treat as if we're not there. Enough is enough. It is time for a change, to quote Owen Hart. May he rest in peace. What a legend. I'm going to carry on with this, whether people want to listen to me or not. This is kind of cathartic for me, and I've taken that on board. It's almost like a diary. No, maybe not. These are things that bother me, and I've seen that are deeply disturbing, but it's like no one knows about them because they're hidden away. It's not because people don't. It's not necessarily either because people aren't interested. It's just because they don't know about it. One of the reasons they don't know about it is they don't know to know about it. It sounds a little. I know it sounds that sounds convoluted, but it is actually true. And as I said, it is just one of the reasons. Just one of them. There are many other reasons, and I've listed them. You can, if you want to look through my videos and count them off, you can. But I'm not doing so here, because I can't be asked. I'm going to be putting my anger to use. And that's the difference. I'm not just going to sit here ranting. When the weather gets colder again, now I've seen a clearer path. Now I can see a clearer path of what I want to do. I've got several paths that kind of intertwine, I'm sort of trying to intertwine around each other to kind of go kind of down the same route, running parallel to each other. And one of those is this. Everyone has their own social justice thing. But, there is social injustice done against pagans in this country. And there is apathy that comes, and I know I'm repeating myself here, but it's not just from the apathy doesn't just come from the general public or just the establishment, or just from Christians or from Muslims or whoever. It also comes from ourselves because of the way we've been treated. We've treated them so badly for so long that all we want to do is keep ourselves to ourselves. And we're still being treated like shit. And because we keep ourselves to ourselves, we're treated with even more suspicion. Is that not recognised? Do people not recognise this? I know some people do. And I also know some pagans are going to see this as less of a problem than I will. I do recognise that. I do. Because I've been told so by fellow pagans that some of them just don't feel that it is a thing because they haven't experienced it. I have. But we are a group of people. Whilst we are each individually on our own paths, our paths are very similar. And as I said, the bonds are there in our origins. Whether that's in genealogy, whether that's in language, whether that's in in geographical culture. That makes sense. I'm not sure that does make sense. I think you get what I mean. You might not. What I mean is culture. Cultures within a certain geography. So again. Like I said, I'm going to keep doing this, and at this point, I'm rambling. So yeah, I'm going to keep doing this, whether anyone watches it or not, whether anyone likes it or not. I don't care. If people do, the point is if people do start watching this, then what I'm trying to do is put out information and do it in a way to incite people to go and do their own research. That's really important. It's like no one seems to think that that's important. They just expect everyone to go and do their own research. I'll watch, my favourite channels that I've mentioned before. Oh, hello, my darling. What are you doing? Hello, my little girlie. What are you doing? They can't always be angry, because look. I mean, look at this. How could I be always angry when I have this? Eh? Say hello, Freya. Yes. Oh, he's being camera shy. Oh, what's Granny doing? You can go back there with your sister. Come on then. Well, they're up. Yeah. This is important. But not enough people know about it, so not enough people are going to see it as important. How do I know that if this is a big enough problem? If the platform isn't there to hear it. If people are too scared to talk about this stuff, then no one's going to talk about it. Or even if they're not they're not interested because of the cultural background of not wanting to talk about this stuff. Maybe it's time for us to evolve socially. Again, we are part of this country. We play a big part of its culture. So, let's play a role. Hope everyone had a good evening. Oh shit, sorry. A good morning. Har en god dag. Har en god morgon. That's it. What have you done? Anyway, bless us who say.